Alright, so we're back doing another video here because I promised that we're going to be doing another video and that I would be consistent. And this is a follow-up, kind of like a prequel to my last video, where I make the guitar that I played in the last video. So a couple years ago, I actually got my very first ever Flying V for Guitar Hero. I never had one before. I've had some third-party guitars, but they're just not my thing. Especially like the Walmart ones, like way back in the day, that are really short and just have. I'll throw a picture up of it. You'll see what I mean. So yeah, I wasn't just big on third party or nothing, but I did happen to get a Flying V. Actually, this Flying V in this video, I got in a lot of like 10 guitars when I bought something off eBay. Back in the day when I was buying guitar like 20, 30 guitars a week. So I got it, and I don't know. I just had this like premonition, not a premonition. I had just this thought of like it could be a sick guitar. So I may have some footage of the original stuff, which I think I may have, but that would be a separate video of the first time taking this whole guitar apart and taking the neck off and stuff. So the original neck that comes with this has very wide buttons, and they're kind of shallow, even though they're deep at the same time. Like the pockets are deep, but the buttons are shallow, so they're prone to stick and get caught, and they just So I replaced the neck with a not Les Paul, with an Explorer neck. That was the first modification that I did. And then everything that you see right here is the second modification that I did, which was Les Paul internals from a 360. I have all the buttons and like the guide, the connect, and all that there. And I even have a little light. I can see here, there's a DC voltage regulator. So yeah, so I had done this mod I want to say almost 3 years ago now. And I did it for one of my best friends because he is a metalhead and he loves all that stuff. And I built it originally just to build it. And weirdly enough, building this guitar originally gave me the idea for a video that I've kind of done, but that is upcoming and it's a surprise. Probably not worth mentioning, but two Flying V's make one awesome guitar. Let's just say. But anyways, so I made this for 360 and it worked pretty well. It originally didn't have this giant yellow button for the select. I just had the original one. But if anybody's played these old PS2 guitars, know the select and start buttons were not like segregated at all. So if you went to go hit the back button, or select I should say, you would usually just pause the game and mess up your combo and stuff. So I then eventually put in the yellow select button. I had the battery, the original battery thing. I literally just cut out of the back of a Les Paul body, and I had that in there under the original battery cover, so I was able to swap out batteries when needed. There was an issue. Actually, no. You know what? I'm speaking way ahead of myself. It originally had Les Paul internals, or I said it had Explorer internals because it was wired, but then the USB kept on getting yanked a lot, and it was getting messed with because my buddy's just he's uh, abrasive, let's say. He likes to play aggressively. So then I made it wireless. But the issue with doing it with wireless was that it activated just at any random time because those old boards, those old 360 Les Paul boards, just whatever the internal piece that they had for the tilt sensor, it malfunctions over time. So, with all that being said and done, because I'm talking like kind of, you know, catching up to everything, what I'm doing for this video is I'm making it all Raspberry Pi. That way it's new and fresh and it's all just, kind of, I wouldn't say perfect, but brand new again. Like you'll see here, I used some random ass third party, just whatever switches that I could use that would fit the pin out. And I got scammed too because they were blues. And you can see right here, somebody, maybe I'm wrong when I say this, but somebody literally just sharpied the tops blue. So maybe they have the specks of blue, and they're like, I'll just sharpie this, and instead of like having it molded in blue and whatnot. But they didn't feel official. They didn't feel good, even if they were third party. They didn't feel like a good copy. So we're taking those off. We're putting official ALP I always pronounce it or spell it out. But Alp clones. I don't believe the ones that I put on here are clones though, because they literally showed up in like a Ziploc baggie from Canada. I normally order my parts from shady websites because, as mentioned in every video, I take risks like that sometimes. The worst ever, I lost like $400 buying a whole bunch of circuit boards from people, but that was, lesson learned. That'll happen. Oh well. So yeah, so here I'm just getting everything cleaned up. God, it's been a lot of fun. I've been doing the builds and stuff lately. I just keeping up with editing is kind of hard. I can't do both, but I don't want to hire an editor either. So we're just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. That's life. Let's see if I have any messages while we're looking. I do have a message, so that's fine. I'll get back to that after. Okay, so here we're solder sucking all the solder off this. I guess I didn't have to do it in detail, but you know what? No, this is good. So I guess we're gonna go from a little bit of entertainment to tutorial part. So here's how I remove my switches, I guess, these days. There's a video from way back in the day when, let's be honest, I'm going to be honest with you because only the people that I really love and love me watch my videos nowadays. Back when I was a fucking drug addict and I was just an awful person, I have a video of me showing how to remove the strum switches. It's one of my most viewed videos. I have never taken it down. I don't think I was messed up when I made it. It's just my mindset wasn't the greatest back then and I wasn't a good person. So I don't like watching it or nothing, but I know I literally just like slammed the board on the table and I'm like ripping the switch off and stuff. So here is a modified version of that. I still kind of, press against the board and I kind of pry the switch away, but I use the solder sucker now. Some of my homies, the other modders, they'll use more expensive, nice, elaborate tools that are like solder sucker stations, where it's an actual like vacuum tip on a solder head, But the little $20 solder sucker I have from way back, like 15 years ago when I started doing all this stuff, and like being an electrician, is good enough. So here, one thing I will say, because we're showing it, I just put a bead of hot glue on the front of this. This mitigates any wear and tear that could happen to the contact pad because you don't want that to rip or break or anything. I actually had I will consider him a buddy, one of my buddies who I sent a guitar to in Canada, who was a client and then became a buddy. Uh, he sent me a picture of one of his mechanical fret switches for the frets, busted off, like it's separated, the solder on the switch from the pin actually separated and all that. And he had admitted that he beats the crap out of the buttons a little bit and that he should be less beating the crap out of them. But then I also saw that there was like a flaw in how I was told to solder stuff from the boards I was getting. So it was like a cool, like, lesson learned type thing. So I'm always on the hunt of being better. So with that said, the hot glue will keep that switch in place at least enough where it's good. The hot glue is also kind of like, I love hot glue, and everybody who's ever taken apart one of my guitars will know I love hot glue. Basically because it sticks very, very well when you need it to. It comes off very clean when you do need it to. But because it sticks very well, but it's also kind of like mendable, like if you were to move something or bend, it kind of moves and bends with it. It's not very rigid. Like epoxy is so rigid, and I love it, but epoxy has totally different uses. Where hot glue, when it comes to switches, I love, like you saw, just putting a little bead right there. Now, depending on if you use Raspberry Pis or Arduinos, it really, it's just your preference. I do Raspberry Pis because it's what I like. I don't really see a difference in the two. I've never seen a difference in the two. I've done both. I like that the Raspberry Pi boards are a little bit bigger. I can get them cheaper in bulk, and I'm more used to them. That's really what it boils down to. And ultimately, when you plug in a guitar, I don't think anybody will really know the difference. Now, feel free to correct me, and if I'm wrong, then maybe I'll start using the other ones, but I just love doing the Raspberry Pis. They're my homies. I like Raspberry Pi as a whole. Been liking them for as long as they've been around, so it's good to support them. And maybe I'm supporting third parties, but I'm getting them so cheap directly from them. I doubt that it's like a fake website or anything, you know. And it's also really easy to wire. Like, basically, you have your fretboard, which is what I'm doing right now. That requires 6 wires, a ground, and 5 pins. You have your strum board, which requires 2 pins and a ground. Then you have your start select, which is 2 pins and a ground. Then you have your whammy, which is like a voltage, you know, a positive voltage, a ground, and then an analog input. And then you're done. I've gotten it down. I don't know if I ever uploaded the video. I'm pretty sure I uploaded the video where I speed ran doing a build where I took a wireless PS2 guitar, and I think in like 45 minutes I was able to strip the whole thing down, put a Raspberry Pi into it, and wire up all the internals that it had with, I do believe, replacing the strum switches. Because that's kind of just always the thing with those guitars, is if you don't replace them and you go, hey, I'll replace them only if I need to, the first time you test it, you're going to need to. Or my biggest fear is, one time I sent a guitar to, hopefully I'm not dead naming here, I sent a guitar to, no, I'm gonna dead name them. I don't want to dead name them, but a very famous and super like top 3 player ever, who was my homie at one point and now refuses to acknowledge me. I get it. Some people, the bridge is burned, and there's no, besides me waving from this side, being like, "Hey, I love you and miss you and appreciate, you know, our friendship that we used to have." And they're like, they literally think I'm invisible. But we're not here to discuss negative stuff. But yeah, no. So that person, I sent them a guitar, and they were so excited. And on the stream, like the first 30 seconds of them playing it, the strum switch went out, and I'm just like, because I never replaced them. I just used the stock switches. So I learned my lesson that you're better off just replacing it with something brand new right off the bat, because why not? Why not just do what's right? Why not spend the extra, like, what, $30 for a couple hundred switches, and then, no, maybe not a couple hundred. Doing the math, I can probably get like 100 for about that price. So yeah, so spend the extra $30 plus shipping. Here, it's not necessary to hot glue the stuff that I'm hot gluing, but you know, why not? And I don't know why, but I'm big into cable management. I mean, I do it for a living as I wire all my electrical machines up, you know, but it's just always fun to make things look pretty and not so slapped together. Can't tell if that's wind or somebody breaking into my garage. September's such a weird month. It's like the days can get to be like 80, 90 degrees, but the mornings, like, man, it's freezing. So at night it gets just so cold. But hey, that's life. What can I do about it? Besides the fact that I'm allergic to the cold, which, jeez. Don't ever be allergic to the cold. It sucks. Especially when you live in the Midwest, like just outside of Chicago here, which is technically the Midwest, even though I'm not like Midwest, like Ohio, Indiana, stuff like that. But still, I'm Chicagoan, or I can't even do the accent, so I'm not gonna try. It's not worth it. And sometimes, you know, I'm just like, I just want to get a video done, and even if I'm rambling or talking, I'll sit there and complain. I'll, like, in the video, I'll literally be like, I'm so sorry, I'm just rambling and making stuff up to talk about, just to keep, like, to keep it going and there's no dead air, you know? And I'll get, like, 4 comments. We love that you just talk and just hang out, you know, like, we love your uploads and stuff, and I truly appreciate that. It may seem silly, but I really do view YouTube as what it was way back in the day. It's YouTube. It's not corporate tube. It's not influencer tube. It's not like, yeah, cool. I like watching shows and I like variety and stuff and I like big productions. But the heart is where the home is, and then the home is really just simplistic stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, I might spend 10 to 20 hours editing a video because I'm a maniac and I want. I was explaining this to my kid the other day. The way I edit my videos, even though I do overly edit them and I do it to such a high degree, and I nitpick every little detail. I do it because I never want the editing to be like a jarring thing or to be distracting from the video itself. I want someone to just watch the video and totally get what's going on, and they're not like, "Oh, what's up?" I watch too many, especially like shorts that people think like, "Hey, I've only got 60 seconds. I need 400 shots in this." And so there's a quick cut and this it's so jarring and like disorienting, or there's videos that don't have enough cuts or that don't transition like my goal is just it's so good you don't even notice it. And I've been editing now since I was like fucking 11 years old. Literally back in the day I used to take like a video camera and my PlayStation and a VCR, and I could do like it's kind of sort of video editing in a way, but it was more like just adding like music onto clips and stuff. And then I learned how to do like titles and things on one of my first computers, and yeah, it's ridiculous stuff. So I really like it, and I enjoy it. And I don't know where I was going with that, other than just it's fun to be a good editor, I guess, or to not ramble. I don't know. We're having a good time. It's been a good year. I feel like every year of my life for the past few years has just gotten better and better. Like things at work are getting better, they're improving. There was kind of like a lull there for a little bit, which in a cool way, the lull helped me get back to doing guitars. So I view all negatives with like a silver lining. It's like yeah, I had to not be so busy at work, but guess what? I get to now do things with the kids some more. Although to be honest, I'll never let work come between me and my kids. I'll fucking leave in the middle of like you could have the president of the company there and they're like, "Hey, if you leave right now, like he's going to be really upset, might fire you." I'm like, "Yeah, but kids need me. See you later, guys. See you tomorrow." And it's nice. They know no matter what, I'm always going to be there. So there's some loyalty in that. And shit, man, I'll be 32 November. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. Even before, because I went to school for it when I was 17. So it's been almost 15 years now that I've like really been doing what I've been doing. And then I've been doing the Guitar Hero modding thing since like '06, which I bring up a lot. But I actually bring this up because the other day on either Reddit or Facebook, I had made a comment on some random post. Like somebody posted something about like a guitar, and there was just a bunch of L takes. Like there was a whole bunch of people being like armchair experts on Guitar Hero controllers and stuff. And I'm sitting over here, I'm like, I know I've been out of the game for a little bit of time, but I'm also like an authority on this, among many others, but I am an authority on this. And so I commented, and some random person was like, "Oh, you're like the OG Guitar Hero mod guy," and I'm like, "Yeah, you can find videos from like '08, '07, '08 on my old YouTube channel, of me doing like lefty guitars and modding stuff." I have brought it up before, but not me. My older brother, back before, like a month before Guitar Hero 3 came out, so well before Rock Band was out, he actually took like a couple guitars from his friend. He didn't even tell me about this. Like he knew I played and all my friends played, but he just like took two guitars from one of his friends and he brought them home and he chopped up the necks and he made like a double fret guitar, with Bondo and stuff. Speaking of which, I have a video. Here, we can talk about this now because most people do watch my stuff, but not all get to a certain point in it. So we have a new series coming up that I've been really like kind of working on and getting honed in on. Like I have some clips done for it, but I really want to make it like full-length videos in a small series. So it's gonna be like, what if Nintendo made an SG, or like what if like there was an SG for Nintendo? What if On Tour and On Decades or Decades Hits, whatever the hell it's called for the DS? What if that was released for console? What if shoot, there's another one. What if there was a double-bodied guitar? Like most of my builds from now on are gonna be predicated on like a what if factor. Like what if blah blah blah. I've had a lot of wacky builds like with the foot pedal whammy and the fan inside of a guitar, and I'm pretty sure I've done some other weird ones. Just because I did the one Guitar Hero Explorer with 5 fret and the Guitar Hero Live buttons on the same neck. So stuff like that. Like I want to do it, but under like a gimmick, I guess, because why not? Let's get some more subs in here and make it more entertaining, I guess. And also, I did say like 15 minutes ago that we are going to turn this into a tutorial, but it's just so straightforward. If you're okay, I'll say this because I was actually told to do this, and I didn't realize it. But I'm gonna just blindly agree because it's the right thing to do. So Sanjay, who made the Guitar Hero configuration tool, even though I've never needed this because I just have been doing this forever, uh, there is an awesome guide on everything I'm doing right here, like how to wire up the whammy, how to wire up the start, the select, the frets, the everything on his. I I don't know at this point what links are what because everything changes over time. But Sanjay has a great tutorial on everything, like in text/blog form, like in an instructable form, with pictures and all that. So even though I'm not pointing out exactly what colors I'm using and what wires I'm wiring to what, if you need that breakdown, even though I don't have a very specific video on it, I can. I'm totally cool with that. It's been a plan for a while. I actually may do that when I do. I have a Strat that I'm going to be making into a Arduino guitar. So maybe when I do that, I will go into like full depth of, hey, this pin, this, and instead of what I normally do for these kind of shots, I just have my camera up nice and high, and then I digitally zoom in to all the other stuff. So when I do the Strat, I'll actually like have the camera nice and close, and I'll do a couple different camera angles, and we'll do full blown tutorial. Sorry, on that guitar, because it's weirdly enough, a lot of people request how to do Rock Band guitar for Arduino or microcontroller. Arduino, Raspberry Pi, microcontrollers, all that stuff. And so why not? And we're actually coming to the end here. I see in the timeline. It doesn't take very long. I mean, yeah, sure, I've edited down like a 45-minute video here, but you throw the microcontroller in there, you rip out all the other guts, and then you just start wiring stuff up. But yeah, no, so getting back to the Rock Band thing, there's a lot of people that request it. I actually had a request for how to do the mechanical fret mod, which I do have, but I've already installed it. So maybe instead of buying a new one, maybe I'll just uninstall it and then reinstall it again. I do this big glob of hot glue right there just for the sake of it. Oh, and hello. Okay, so video's over because I must have lost footage of putting the guitar back together and whatnot, and I don't know. I searched everywhere. I searched the camera. I searched whatever. So we're here with this. That was the build. It's pretty simple. It's a video to get a video out. You're hanging out with me talking. Real quick, we can go over though what is like on the docket here because I like doing that. If you've stayed this long. And I'll just pull up the list real quick. Okay, so we have a Warriors of Rock Guitar that I'm pretty sure Raspberry Pi'd out, and that's nuts. Like that might be the first ever done, and if not, first documented. Man, that is nuts. So there's that. Then I also did a DJ Hero deck. I did the DJ Hero deck with mechanical buttons because I saw a Reddit or a Twitter post like a year, maybe 2 years ago now, of like a person that had their whole deck apart, and they just had like the buttons sitting on top of the deck, and they at my buddy Drew. So like one day I had my Renegade deck out here, and I'm just like, cool. So I took it all apart, did a little bit of a video on it. A lot of work, say that much, to get that going. And I was gonna give it to a YouTuber here, but then my kid, my oldest, was just like, nah, I'm falling in love with this. So there's that. I also have the video real quick. Check this out. So, update on my Riffmaster guitar. That's wild. It's wild how I had to do that. But that's where we're at right now. I complained in the video, and I'm gonna complain forever until now. Obviously, when I fix it, that I need just a solid button right here. So even though the hole isn't 100% perfect, it's perfect enough to have the button fit and all that. So now I just have to sand this down tonight, it's a little rough. It's nice and smooth here, but it's real rough over here. So sand this all down, paint it a singular color, and then remove that part of the guitar and put this button in there. And then what I'll most likely do is put like a little connector, you know, like a plug connector. That way, well, if I have to take this off ever, I can unplug it from the button and the body and stuff. So yeah, so there's that. But cool. Peace out. I don't know what'll be next. It'll be a surprise. Peace.